Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to take a look at an all-new model for the Chevy lineup, the 2022 Chevy Bolt EUV. Now you guys might be asking yourself, well, the Bolt is not a new model to the Chevy lineup, and you are correct. However, the Bolt EUV does not share a single body sheet metal component with the regular Bolt. However, most of the underpinnings, including the motor and the battery, are going to be the same as the Bolt EV. So a couple key points really quick before we look at this EUV is the EUV comes in at $33,995 to start. That includes destination. Now the LT that we're sitting in with the convenience group comes in right around $37,000. So keep that in mind while we're looking at this vehicle. Now there is a special launch edition of the EUV which is based on a Premier trim level, but basically it gives you everything that the car offers, including Super Cruise, and that comes in at $43,495. Now the Bolt EUV is 6 inches longer than the regular EV, which nets 3 inches of additional rear legroom, and none of the sheet metal on the exterior is shared with the smaller EV. So that is cool to see that this is more so of a dedicated model rather than just a iteration of the Bolt EUV, even though the underpinnings and the battery and everything like that are pretty much the same between the two. Now on both Bolts you do get Chevy's safety assist standard, which includes automatic emergency braking, forward collision alert, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, forward distance indicator, automatic high beams, and front pedestrian braking. But if you want adaptive cruise control in addition to those things, you need to go for the Bolt Premier, as the adaptive cruise control is not offered on the LT trim level. Now the EUV comes with a few exclusive features over the regular Bolt, including Super Cruise, which I mentioned earlier, the sunroof, as well as ventilated front seats. Now if you want Super Cruise and the sunroof, you're going to have to opt for the Premier trim level and add those options onto the Premier. Now if you want the ventilated seats, that is part of the LT with the convenience group, so I'm glad Chevy added at least the ventilated seat option here on the LTs. Now all Bolts come with a 65 kilowatt hour battery pack. Now that is good for 247 miles of EPA range here on the EUV. That is slightly lower than the Bolt EV, but overall I still think that is very competitive. Comes with standard DC fast charge now, and it comes with the single drive motor up front for a front wheel drive setup. Now that provides 200 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque. That is good for about a mid 6-second 0 to 60 time for anyone interested. So hopefully that provides you guys with a little bit of extra insight here on the EUV. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one that I'm sitting in right now. Now the Bolt in front of us here is a 2022 Chevy Bolt EUV LT with the convenience package. Now that combines both the comfort and confidence package into one. So this is a fully loaded LT Bolt. But starting off up front here, we do have your daytime running lights and turn signals. These are a sequential turn signal, which look really cool. Kind of differentiates them from the rest of the cars on the road. Below that, we do have your LED projector low and high beams all in one unit. And we do have kind of like an air curtain that directs air kind of around the wheel well area to provide better aerodynamics. Now one way to tell the difference between an EUV and EV is the fact that the lighting is separated here on the EUV, as well as comes with the roof rails only on the EUV. So those are a couple ways you can differentiate the two out on the road. Now coming up front, we do have your black bow ties, which I believe is a standard feature on all Bolts. And since the Bolts do not require airflow and cooling like normal cars, most of the grille is covered up here. But of course you do have some openings down below for the cooling system. And I believe that might just be the sound generator there sitting behind the grille. But overall, it is a very attractive kind of redesign here on the Bolt lineup, even though this one is all new. Coming around to the wheels and tires. Now these are the 17-inch wheels, part of the convenience package. 215/50 17-inch Michelin Energy Saver AS tires. Now these are a low rolling resistance tires, so it helps you get the maximum range possible. And these wheels are kind of like a metallic gray and silver design, which I think they are pretty attractive overall. You do have your charging port right here. And your DC fast charge is standard, up to 11 kilowatt hours, which is an update over the prior Bolts. Now looking at the side of the vehicle, we do have your LED turn signals here in the mirrors, as well as some gloss black and the paint match. Overall, this color is a very attractive color, and as you can see with the lighting change, kind of goes from a silver to a beige to even some of like a dark blue hue depending on the lighting. but I think it is very attractive overall, and one of my favorite colors on the EV. Coming out back here, we do have what appears to be your tail light, but that is actually only your LED running light, as the tail lights and turn signals are down below. Now this is one of the things I'm not a huge fan of that they changed for the Bolts. The lighting is overall very small, even though it is LED, so it is fairly bright. But being so low down on the vehicle and everything, it might be hard to see in certain scenarios, and I wish they kind of did the tail light design up top and did something down below different here. But overall, that is what the EUV comes with. And we do have your center mounted reverse light all the way down here at the bottom, which is even harder to see. So keep that in mind while you're shopping for the EUV. We do have a lot of that black cladding, which again, I'm not a huge fan of on these cars, but we do have your rear parking sensors, which is part of that driver confidence package. Rear view camera, black bow tie, rear wiper, and the rear spoiler kind of up top here on the deck lid looks pretty good. It has a nice shape to it. One thing I forgot to mention is you also do get the Bolt EUV kind of branding right there on the side of the hood, which looks nice. And of course, you do get your roof rails up top, which is standard on all Bolt EUVs. Now stepping inside, we do have your proximity entry here on both the front doors. Now this Bolt also features the dark blue and black interior, which I think is my favorite color option on the EUVs. As you can see, it is a nice kind of dark blue. Coming over to your door panel here, we do have your dark blue leather with some stitching here like I mentioned. We do have some of that gray trim which matches the exterior. You do have your power mirrors, locks, and windows all in the normal spots. Large storage down below and your speaker system. And we do have a power driver's seat, which is a new feature for the 2022 Bolt lineup. It does have power lumbar as well. You do have your adjustable headrests. These are slightly revised seats compared to the previous Bolts of the past, and so far they are very comfortable, and I think they're a huge upgrade compared to some of the previous generation Bolts. But stepping inside, you're greeted with a welcome tone, which I'm sure you can turn off if you'd like. Let's go ahead and start it up, I guess. There isn't much to hear being an EV. But we do have the new steering wheel right front and center, which is a flat bottom design. It does have kind of like this brushed chrome trim. Gloss black on either side. On the left side, we do have your kind of collision distance indicator and set point, as well as your cruise control buttons. On the right, we do have your voice control, your phone control, as well as the controls for the 8-inch cluster up here. Now the 8-inch cluster is revised for 2022. It gives you some more user customization according to Chevy. But overall, it is a nice high-resolution cluster. Gives you a ton of user information about the car and everything like that. And I think it is a really good cluster. Over on the left side, you do have your range estimator. Gives you a min and max rating as well as your average rating, I guess. And on the right side, you do have your power consumption and regen, as well as your gear indicator down there below. To the left of the steering, we do have your automatic headlight control, some vents. I like how they kind of integrated this window defrost vent kind of here on the dash. I think that looks really cool. We do have some stitching that runs across the entire dash. I love how the vents are integrated here on the lip. Overall, I think this is a very good update and very attractive update to the Bolt lineup. But right in the middle of the dash here, we do have your revised 10.2-inch HD infotainment system. It does have hard buttons here on the left, which I am glad Chevy offered. This is your volume knob up top. We do have a home button, as well as your tune selector and kind of scroll wheel here on the bottom. Now, one thing I have to say about that setup here on the left side is that when you're driving, it is kind of obstructed by the steering wheel in terms of your line of sight and everything to those buttons. So you kind of have to feel which one's which and get used to the positions of everything. But I think once you do that, I think this is a great feature set and everything like that, just having hard buttons. But you can see this is the typical Chevy infotainment system, which I think is one of the best in the industry. Of course, you have your audio, XM, Bluetooth, everything like that. You do have wireless, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. And of course, your dedicated energy screens for the bolts. Gives you all your information on charging, lets you set the charging limits and everything like that. Gives you some history of your driving. Tells you where the energy is going. Overall, I think this is a great setup, and of course, not disappointed by it one bit. You do have your climate controls on the infotainment if you want to adjust everything like that. But below the infotainment system, we do have some dedicated hard touch buttons for the climate, including a button to access the climate up here on the screen. But we do have a single zone automatic climate control, and all these are kind of like toggles up and down. We do have your heated steering wheel, and of course your heated and ventilated front seats, which is part of the LT convenience package, which this is a EUV exclusive as far as the cooled seats. And I'm glad to see that Chevy offered the ventilated seats on a lower trim level than the Premier trim. So yeah, that's nice to see. We do have your standard wireless charge pad here on the EUV way back in here, and it is a very deep cubby. Do have your sport mode button right here, traction control, as well as your lane keep on and off button. And we do have your revised center console, which is more of what the Chevy Corvette and Tahoe go with. We do have your push button / pull buttons, however you want to look at it. We do have your park button, your reverse, neutral button, pull to drive, and of course we have your one pedal driving button down below as well. So like you saw, you do have your HD rear vision camera, which you can turn the guidance lines on and off, which is nice. And of course you have your one pedal driving mode button, which is great to see that it is just an easy on and off feature right here, as well as your electronic parking brake. Now, I'm not a fan of all the gloss black plastic going on, because you can see it's kind of getting a little dirty already, but overall I think this is a great update to the Chevy Bolt lineup. Now, coming back here, we do have your two cup holders. They appear to be equal sizes, as well as your standard run-of-the-mill Chevy key. It does have remote start and everything like that. Coming back to the armrest, it is nice soft touch. Nothing going on inside, just a bunch of storage space. Coming up top, we do have your auto dimming rear view mirror, which is part of that convenience package, and we do have your OnStar and interior illumination controls. I believe these are sliding for anybody interested. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back seat. So the back seat, a lot of the materials are going to follow through. We do have your blue stitching and everything like that on the door panel. Some more storage. And here is where the Bolt EUV extended length comes into play, where you get 3 inches of extra legroom over the regular Bolt. Now, stepping in, one thing to note is that the roof line is a little low, so I kind of did bump my head a little bit there getting in, but it's not too bad. So coming back to the rear, we do have your USB and USB-A charge ports for the back seat. We do have one storage pocket here on the back of the passenger seat. Overall, legroom is good. The seat is a little further back than I normally drive at. Footroom is a little tight depending on how far back the seat is. Headroom is a little tight actually back here in the Bolt EUV. Now, I'm 5'9", but since I've had spinal fusion, my torso and everything is a little bit taller, closer to like a 6-foot person. So I would say if you are in the 6-foot or taller range, that you might have troubles here in the rear seat of the EUV, which is surprising considering the shape, but overall just keep that in mind. There is a little cutout here in the headliner for your head, but I'm not sure how that would change with the panoramic sunroof on the higher trim models. So we do have armrests with 2 cup holders, and the headrests do fold down just like that with the push of a button. So overall, the back seat is not too bad of a place to be. Seats are nice and cushioned, but headroom is a little bit limited depending on your height. So coming to the trunk, do have a nice large opening for the hatch. And as you can see, the EUV offers a ton of storage space. It does have a little bit of kind of like a cloth divider here that kind of hangs up on the hatch. You do have your LED lighting on the one side. And underneath the floor here, we do have a ton more storage space. I mean, that is a solid, probably 8 to 10 inches deep here. And underneath this floor, you'll find your charging cord storage as well as your tow hook and everything like that. Now this is the new charging cord, which I mentioned earlier in this video. This is the 240 capable. This comes standard with the EUV and is optional with the regular Bolt EV. So it gives you 120 and 240. Now this charges up to 7.2 kilowatts. So it does not max out the charging abilities of the EUV, but it does provide a good level 2 charging with a portable unit, so you don't have to install one if you don't like in your garage or whatnot. Or if you're on the go and you need 240 charging, this will provide it for you. Overall, good storage space here in the back of the EUV. Of course, the seats do fold down. Just like that. And the load floor is very even, as you can see right there. So this is a basically flat floor with the seats folded down. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tour of the Bolt EUV LT. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Hit the like video if you guys found it helpful or enjoyed this video. But I think the EUV overall is a nice package, slightly bigger than the Bolt EV, and definitely provides some nice exclusive features if you guys are looking for those. So once again, let me know what you guys think, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.